let's talk about what it takes to get your executive job done during your workday. So here's the deal. It is a documented fact from the Harvard Business Review, and I quote, CEOs and executives simply never have time enough to do what they're responsible for due to an acute scarcity of one resource and one resource only. And it's not your team, it's not your board, and it's not who you are directly accountable to. It is time. Time is the scarcest resource executives have, and where you allocate it matters a lot. Now, here's the rub, okay? The executive workday paradox, which I'm going to explain in a minute, is what is robbing you of your time, because the executive workday paradox is the very definition of a paradox. Now, what's a paradox? A paradox is a seemingly absurd and self-contradictory statement. And what that means for you as an executive is that you are literally set up to fail in ever getting your job done during your workday, because your job is not designed to get done during your 9 to 5 hour workday. It's just not set up that way. Your very workday is the paradox that has you set up to fail in ever getting your job done during your work day, right? So look, let's get real. There's a reason for this, and I'm going to go into that right now. The reason is, if you're a female executive between the ages of, let's say, 40 and 55, your executive workday is not the same one your parents, and let's be honest here, mostly your dads had to manage. Your dads probably never had to deal with emails, notifications, cell phone interruptions, constant distractions, and other interruptions, or even talking to their spouse during their workday, much less managing their kids' extracurricular activities, being at their, being their chauffeurs and taxi drivers to their activities, trying to fit in a work-in, or simply shop and cook a meal during, any work week or work day. Now, this is mostly because CEOs in our parents' era had secretaries to run interference for them, to field their calls, to pick up their dry cleaning, to manage their lunches, to write up their notes, and basically to manage their workday so that they could be out the door to catch the 5 p.m. train home every day. So look, if you are an executive today, and especially if you are a mother as well, good luck managing all of that yourself, because that used to be a whole nother person's job. So look, the truth is this: understanding that the very nature of your workday is a paradox, and that traditional time management and productivity structures and strategies are no match for that paradox, is one part of the equation, is an important part of the equation, but it's only one part. Now, the other part is you've got to understand what will actually solve that paradox in your favor, and then show you how to reclaim your life back from what has become your all-encompassing job. Now, look, if you're like most successful high-performance female executives, you've been implementing productivity and time management strategies, but they haven't been working to get you the results that you expect, because you're a smart person, you got the job, and you're trained to do the job. You're just not trained to manage the time that it takes to do the job because of this paradox. So even when you set up structures that are good and strategies that are, good in theory, effectively, or if in theory they're effective, the majority of your time you still end up taking work home to finish off in the evenings and weekends if you're trying to get out the door at a decent hour. And so that means that you never really take a completely work-free evening, work-free weekend. And if you're taking your computer and your phone with you, it's never even a work-free holiday. And that is not the way this thing was supposed to be set up. And the frustrating part for all of you is you're great at what you do, and that the work you submit is above par. And that's despite the fact that you are somewhat meeting your deadlines. Unfortunately, it's at the cost of your personal life. It's not supposed to be this way. So each day winds up feeling hard and extensive. And that means, you can't use all of these books, all of these authors, all of this technology, all of this productivity technology, because you can't work hard enough. You can't work early enough. You can't work late enough. You can't work fast enough or smart enough to ever get caught up so that you can go home at a decent hour and live your personal life work-free the way you are supposed to, not the way that they've got you all spun up right now, thinking that this is the way it's supposed to be. So I want to ask you some questions. Where in your private life are you sacrificing your time with your children and your spouse, and most of all, on yourself, to allocate the extra hours it must be taking you to get your job done? And why are you breaking your neck to get your job done during your workday when, as I've just explained, the executive workday game is rigged against you? And when breaking your neck and trying the newest and best time management or productivity strategies out there inevitably fails and you still can't get it done, just like it was set up for you to do, right? Why must you end up taking work home on your weekends and evenings and even holidays and never actually be completely work-free? And the answer to those questions, you've got your own answers, but the answers that I keep getting from executives that I'm speaking to is because that's just what you've been trained to do. And up until now, you haven't had a choice. Now, that doesn't seem fair, right? And here's the thing. When you actually pick that paradox apart, right? And remember that a paradox is something that is, wait a minute, I'm just gonna, a seemingly absurd and self-contradictory statement, right? When you pick that paradox apart, does it even make sense? So I was just doing an executive workday audit call, what I call an executive workday audit call with the vice president of my bank. And she said, it's not only what you've been trained to do, it's what's expected of you. And she's also a mom and she's also a spouse. But guess what? Now she's got a choice. And so do you. So what I want to invite you to do is to book an executive workday audit call with me, just like she did, and get to the root of your executive workday, what I call area of overwhelm. And on that call, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at your general workday structure and the area of overwhelm and analyze three things. One, are you structuring your workday to maximize your focus and decrease your area of overwhelm by decreasing distractions and interruptions? And what are the specific shifts you need to make to upgrade that structure? Two, what are the root causes? We're going to look at also analyze and evaluate what are the root causes of the habits that you have developed by trying to gut it out with this executive workday that divert your focus and increase your area of overwhelm. And then what is the best process that's going to allow you to maintain your focus and your attention so that you can minimize your area of overwhelm? So that's what I had for you today on this training. And I'm inviting you to, book this call with me and let's take a deep dive into that resource that you're missing, which is time, and turn that around in your favor so that you can not only beat time, quote unquote, but you can reverse or reframe the executive workday paradox that is costing you all of your time and get your private life back. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye-bye.